Welcome back, foodies and clueless cooks and all of you beginners, where you're clueless and so am I. And since it's the heart of winter and Valentine's Day, we're going to cook red. And that means the best comfort food of all for winter, which is tomato soup and grilled cheese sandwiches. It's easy, so let's get cooking. Okay, foodies, I'm Tammy, I'm Zed's Human, and we're gonna go through the ingredients that we're gonna use for homemade tomato soup. No Campbell's, we're gonna do everything ourselves, and instead of a mixing bowl this time, we're gonna use a blender. But we're gonna start out, I'm gonna give you the ingredients, which are really simple. First of all, we're gonna use organic diced tomatoes. One small can, and I think that is 14.5 ounces, according to Walmart. We're gonna use one small can of 6-ounce organic tomato paste. We're gonna use some minced garlic. Of course, you know I use organic. I'm going to use a little bit of sriracha. And the reason that I taught you to make bone broth is because we're going to use our own bone broth rather than milk or water. It gives it a lot better flavor. So let's get going. So I'm going to get the blender because that's what we're going to mix everything up in. And all you really need is the blender pitcher. And the first thing that we're going to do is open this can of diced tomatoes. We're just going to pour it into the blender. Tomato juice and all. So that's it. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is use the tomato paste. It's very intense, and you don't have to buy organic, but you know me, I do. And so I'm going to put the tomato paste in here. Okay, now for unusual ingredients. If you look on the tomato soup can label, there's a lot of stuff in there with long chemical kind of names, and we're not going to use any of that. We're going to use our own stuff. So we're going to use 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, and you know that this stuff doesn't come out of this thing very well. Oh, it did this time. What do you know? So we're going to put 1 tablespoon of garlic in there. We're going to use 1 teaspoon of sriracha. Now this is slightly tricky. You can use the tomato paste can to measure it, but we're going to use 18 ounces, which is 2 1/4 cups of bone broth. I like to shake it up because all of the herbs and stuff settle on the bottom. This is just stuff I had in the fridge. $16. See how that worked. Yep, 18 ounces. That's what it looks like. It's our own bone broth, but you can also buy it. You can buy organic, and this is chicken bone broth. I always use chicken. You can use chicken or beef, either one. Doesn't really make that much difference. Changes the flavor a bit, but it's really not that big a deal. Whichever one you like, or whichever one you have. Okay, last ingredient is cracked pepper. And, whoops. I grind my own, but there's also, you can buy this, which is probably better. I just couldn't, it wasn't as finely ground as I liked. Here's organic black pepper. I got that at Walmart. And, but I ground my own. I don't think I ground enough. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of ground pepper. There's my tablespoon of black pepper. And you know me, I'm not going to touch it, even though I probably should. Okay, so that's it for ingredients. Oh, something I forgot to tell you about is I'd like to use a little bit of fresh parsley. And so we're going to put, let's see, is that 1/8 of a cup? We're going to put 1/4 cup, and we're going to use the red cup since it's Valentine's season. So we're going to use 1/4 cup of fresh parsley. You can use other fresh herbs if you'd like, but I just use parsley. Of course, you know, I have that mom, and it's got a lot of iron in it, so I put it in there. I don't know how it affects the flavor. It's kind of sweet. So here we go. I'm going to put the lid on this, and we're going to grind this, blend it up, and then heat it up, and that's it for fresh or homemade tomato soup. And I don't use homemade tomatoes because they're expensive, it's a little bit of a pain, and it's just so easy to buy a can of organic diced tomatoes at Walmart that, you know, this is what we're going to do. So plug your ears. We're going to make a little bit of noise, but we're going to blend up this soup, pour it in a pan and heat it, and that's it. Okay. I hate to make it look so simple, but it's that simple. Hey guys, if you can do me a favor, as a quick reminder, follow me on social media, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, all of them. We have accounts on all of them, so follow us and become a subscriber. And also with YouTube, if you'll like us, like this episode, and subscribe to Clueless Cooking 101, we'd say thank you. And of course, you know, we love your comments. I reply to them myself, and if you have questions, recipe ideas, or if you have like the best meatloaf recipe on the planet, email me at Clueless Cooking 101, because we're going to have a meatloaf competition coming up, and we want to use your recipe. The next thing that we're going to make is the grilled cheese sandwich. And I have a special way of doing this that the only people that really know about it are probably my friends that I've told. And I just put this non-stick skillet. You can use any kind of skillet. You can use like a iron skillet, which is, you can cook almost everything in an iron skillet, but I just happen to have this non-stick. So what I use for a grilled cheese sandwich is a specialty oil. I don't put anything on the bread, and I use coconut oil. You can cook it at a higher heat. You can heat it up at a higher heat, but it also makes the bread kind of crunchy, almost like potato chip crunchy, which I know people like. And I'm going to use sourdough bread. You can use any kind of bread that you like. I go to a nutritionist, and he swears that sourdough is the easiest on your gut, but it also makes really good grilled cheese sandwiches, and they're super big. So I'm going to we're going to use a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. If I can figure out how to get it out of the, if I can figure out, because it's solid, you know, it doesn't really spill. So I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, and that's what we're going to, I'm going to call it fry or whatever. We're going to grill this. Oh, that didn't work very well. Okay, so it's close enough to a 1/4 cup. You get the picture. Okay, and why do we use coconut oil? This is a quiz. We use it because it makes our sandwich crisp. All right, we're going to heat up the oil, or that coconut oil for this grilled cheese. I have it on medium because it's really easy to burn a grilled cheese sandwich. So as this oil melts, and I have out 2 pieces of sourdough bread, we're going to make this really big sandwich. And the kind of cheese that you use for a grilled cheese sandwich is kind of up to you. I'm going to mix, and I couldn't find organic, I'm going to mix extra sharp cheddar cheese with Swiss, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And believe it or not, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to put anything on this sandwich. No flavorings, nothing. Because it's good just as it is. Some people put tomatoes, some people put bacon. They put lots of things on their grilled cheese sandwich. That's up to you. I don't do that. I just make it really plain. So I'm going to put 2 pieces of extra sharp Swiss cheese, and it comes by the slice. I get it at Walmart, or extra sharp cheddar cheese, I'm sorry, and 1 slice of Swiss cheese, also from Walmart. Okay, Clueless cooks, so I think 1/4 cup was too much coconut oil. So I'm going to go back and say, let's use 1/8 cup. And I don't know if I have a measuring cup for 1/8 cup, that's 1/2 quart. But this is how much oil is in there, and I think it's too much. So I'm going to dump a little bit of this out, because the goal is not to deep fry the grilled cheese sandwich, it's just to saute it or fry it. So we're going to just mix this cheese a little bit. And here we go. Ooh. Now the goal is to not set off the smoke alarm, because I've done that a few times. But look how it's really crunchy. The first time it was an accident, now it's not an accident. And so you don't have to put butter or mayonnaise or anything on your bread, just have it be plain. You might want to turn it down to medium so that you don't burn it like I'm And don't be afraid to turn this a couple of times. And don't be afraid to absorb some of the coconut oil into the bread. It's what makes it crunchy, and from what I understand, it's really not bad for you. And it doesn't mind high heat also. So let's see how we're doing with the tomato soup. Oh, did I turn it down? I didn't mean to. I hate it. Ooh, I burned it just a little bit. Don't tell anybody. Okay, let's turn it off. After you flip it over a couple of times and you think it's done, mine's what's called well done. I'm going to toss this on the sandwich board, which is actually, AKA, it's also known as your cutting board. Cut this in half. Hear how crunchy it is. And since I know a lot of people like to dip their sandwiches into their tomato soup, I cut it into 4s. You don't have to do that, but I do. Look how pretty. Isn't that nice? All right. So let's get that tomato soup heated up. Hey there, Clueless Cooks. Thanks again for joining us on Clueless Cooking 101, and I invite you to check out my website, cluelesscooking101.com. There is a link to our blog, which is just a fun story, sometimes about my life, sometimes about cooking, but the recipes that are in these episodes are all there. And there's also a link to the YouTube videos. So you can, and a shopping cart that's up and coming. We'll sooner or later have merchandise, but not yet. So visit us on cluelesscooking101.com. Thank you. Okay, Brianna. She's our resident teenager. Not bad, huh? So if you were a first timer and you'd never made grilled cheese before, would you be happy with that? Yeah, cool. You're allowed to say yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for the real taste test, who is Eddie, the videographer, who only eats high protein because he's a power lifter. So he's going to break all of his rules.
I'm just not stepping in front of the camera because I'm not camera ready.
Okay. Not bad, huh? Okay.
This is like those restaurant grilled cheeses.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's a real compliment. Okay, here's the tomato soup. I don't know if anybody dips their tomato soup into, or their grilled cheese into their tomato soup. I don't do it, but I heard that it's a cult item. That, so, you know, we made that tomato soup. It doesn't have to be this runny. You can use less chicken broth if you'd like. But that's it. So this is an easy one. You want to taste?
No, I'm good. Karina's on her phone.
Pretty darn good. It tastes very fresh. It tastes very tomatoey. So I'm going to do something I've never done before, and I'm going to find out what all of the hoopla is about. Not bad. Thank you, Clueless Cooks, for joining us for this episode, our Valentine's Day episode, where we embrace red food, and we made tomato soup, homemade tomato soup, organic, and grilled cheese sandwiches. We thank you for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you the next time. Happy cooking!